There are meetings that do not happen by accident. And when two giants like China and the United States decide to sit at the same table, the entire world falls silent. Because in politics, no one meets out of friendship. They meet out of fear, out of interest, out of strategy. And if Niccolo Machiavelli were alive today, he would not see diplomacy. He would see a war disguised as smiles. For centuries, humanity believed wars began with gunfire. But Machiavelli understood something far more dangerous.
The most important wars begin with conversations, because when two rival powers grow too close, it does not mean peace. It means something massive is moving behind the curtain, and that is exactly what happens when China and the United States meet. Two empires, two visions of the world, two structures of power trying to dominate the same chessboard. One controls money, the other controls production. One dominates military influence, the other dominates strategic patience. And both understand one thing. If one falls, the other inherits the century. Most people watch these meetings as simple political events. Photographs, speeches, handshakes. But Machiavelli would have seen something else. He would have studied the looks, the pauses, the tone of the words. Who speaks first? Who smiles more? Who needs the agreement more? Because for Machiavelli, power is never found in what is said. It is found in what is hidden. Imagine it for a moment. Two men sitting face to face. They do not represent countries. They represent millions of people, entire economies, armies, technology, control. And even then, neither can completely destroy the other. That is the real problem of modern power. Today's empires can no longer crush each other easily. Now they must tolerate one another, while searching for ways to weaken each other slowly. And this is where Machiavelli would have smiled. Because centuries ago, he wrote something brutal. A prudent prince should never place complete trust in peace. And he was right. Because when powers speak about cooperation, many times they are only buying time. China does not think like the West, and the United States does not tolerate losing influence. That philosophical difference turns every meeting into a silent battle. While one thinks in decades, the other thinks about maintaining immediate dominance. While one builds economic dependence, the other builds military alliances. And although they publicly speak about stability, internally both prepare for future conflict. Not necessarily a war with weapons, but a more intelligent war. Technology, information, economics, manipulation, dependence. Because modern power no longer needs to invade countries. Now it is enough to control energy, data, factories, networks, and the minds of people. Machiavelli would have understood this new world perfectly. Because he knew the most dangerous form of power is the one that controls without appearing tyrannical. And that is exactly what the great powers do today. They sell you freedom while studying your behavior. They speak of progress while competing to dominate every aspect of your life, even your thoughts. But something even more disturbing appears here. When two important enemies stop attacking each other publicly, it does not mean they stopped hating each other. It means they both found a greater enemy. And history has shown this many times before. Rival empires temporarily united, only to protect their own interests. Because Machiavelli understood an uncomfortable law. There are no eternal allies, only eternal interests. And that sentence explains modern global politics perfectly. Ordinary people still believe in speeches. They believe leaders act out of morality. But Machiavelli would have destroyed that illusion quickly. Because to him, leaders are not driven by goodness. They are driven by survival. And when a power feels it may lose influence, it becomes dangerous. Very dangerous. That is why every meeting between China and the United States creates global tension. Because the world understands something. If they truly collide, no one walks away untouched. The economy collapses, markets shake, small nations obey, and ordinary people pay the price. That is how power works. Giants play chess, while the rest of the world lives with the consequences. But Machiavelli would not only observe governments, he would also observe people, because the same game exists in everyday life. Businesses, families, relationships, negotiations. Everyone smiles. Everyone pretends stability. Everyone speaks about trust. But behind the scenes, many are simply calculating advantages. And perhaps that is the most uncomfortable truth of all. Global politics is not different from human nature. It is simply ambition, on a larger scale. Maybe that is why meetings between powerful nations fascinate people so deeply. Because deep down, they remind us of something disturbing. The world is not ruled by ideals. It is ruled by strategies. And while most people sleep distracted, others decide the direction of the planet behind closed doors. Machiavelli understood that more than 500 years ago. And perhaps today, his vision feels more real than ever. Because when giants grow too close, it is not the beginning of peace. It is the exact moment when power begins reorganizing the world.